that's in the slump. So we did players, we did coaches. For parents, how do you help parent out of a slump or whatever?
Well, it goes back to this is a tougher one because some parents have a good way to communicate with their kids. Some people don't, and some people will give kid more excuses rather than reasons. So, but this is what I would say is if you have the ability to have those 4 or 5 things, and I think any parent listening to this should share it with their kid because you might not be able to get that message across. So let them listen to the podcast or say, I heard this really interesting thing that helps every player get through slumps or identify themselves. Have 4 or 5 things that make you feel good or not feel good that identify as a good game. So if the parents know that, then they can always come back to that, right? Mm-hmm. So if a kid comes back with his tail between his legs and I just suck right now, you don't want to give them no you're doing good, give them a hug and make them some cookies, right? You can look at effort as number 1, but number 2 is go down the list. Okay, hey, remember you got those 4 or 5 things. Are you say you go to the net, that's how you have success. Did you get to the net? Don't tell them, ask them,
right?
If they're pissy, they might say, yeah, I did, shut up, Dad. They might do that, but they're gonna no, I didn't go to the net. If they're gonna be honest with themselves, I know I didn't go to the net. I didn't finish the checks. And so, well, let's start with that, right? You could say, you know what, one of the things I heard is visualizing. Like if you see yourself do well, give them that task. So that's something. The one thing don't do is beat the shit out of them. Like as far as harping on hockey, it's the worst thing you can do. I do it with my kid today in the OHL. It works.
Yeah.
Let him talk, ask him a few questions, know that he's going to solve it. The worst thing that parents do is, and this is the biggest thing I see with parents, is they never stop talking about hockey, ever. They come in here, they talk about it. You see the parents in the lobby, they're just nonstop talking about hockey. It's the biggest worry of their life. So kids get in the car and they get home. I remember I told you this, right? Charlie's agent loves it. He sends me a note all the time about eating that shitty piece of chicken. But the truth was at my house when my dad was around, he would sit there and it would be hockey. The guy never played a sport in his life. So I'd be in it. Dad, I just want to eat this shitty piece of chicken. Can you please just stop talking about hockey? Talk about something else, Yeah. So the more that you harp on it as a parent, probably the worse it's going to be.
Yeah.
The kids will solve it, but if you can give them that little bit of direction, is the 4 or 5 things. Suggest visualizing. That would be my thing. And don't talk too much.
Yeah, the one thing I want to remind the parents of too is that it's important that you be honest about your ability to actually help.
Yep.
Because a lot of times I find parents think they're giving good advice, but they're not.
Yeah.
Or they're telling them something that isn't actually what they need to be working on or whatever. And I'm not saying that. Sorry, go.
No, I was going to say, what, in your opinion, I'm asking the question, what do you think a parent says? Okay, I'm a kid that comes out of the dressing room, or I'm coming home, and you can see it on my face. Haven't scored, you lost a tournament, whatever the thing is, you can see it. What do you think? Or maybe I verbalize it now. I said, I'm not playing good. I had a shit game. What do you think most parents say?
Well, you're not really. Well, one of 2 ways.
Yeah.
It's either the no,
right,
that way.
Yes.
Or it's the you're not even touching the puck. Like you're not even going to get it. Like it looks like you're not working. Like your legs aren't. It's one of those 2.
And what advice do you think they give them?
Their advice is you need to work harder. You need to try harder. You need to and it's all empty, nothing words that mean nothing.
Yeah.
So this is my warning. This is why I'm saying this is because you might think you're being helpful, and you might have great intentions even, and I'm sure most parents do, but you might actually not be helping. So you might, and not only not helping, you might be a pain in the ass for your kid.
Most parents are.
So just try to analyze what is qualifying you to give them specific hockey advice in terms of what they need to be doing. Yeah. So here's a way to do it, in my opinion. If you're a mom or dad and your kid comes in after, is you do the asking questions way, like you were saying. Yeah. But even if you're coming up with your 3 or 4 things, like you might not know how to come up with that if you're mom and dad.
Well, you don't.
You don't
know it's good.
So it's just got to be a conversation. Yeah. It's just got to be a conversation where you guys, and again, you could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it's better to do it as a conversation where you guys are just communicating about it with each other, trying to figure it out together, rather than dictate to them things you think they should be doing when you have no context for what they should be doing regardless.
Yeah.
Like you don't know if they need to go finish their hit here, or they need to go get the puck in the corner, or they need to go do whatever XYZ thing, because you don't know the systems, you don't know whatever. You might have never played hockey before, you don't even know what's important, you don't know how to identify a role, you might not know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's important that you are honest with your ability to help. Like, don't get overexcited thinking that you know enough to really like sideline coach your kid as opposed to parent them. Like, parent them, don't coach them.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're going to try to coach them, you might be going against what the coach is saying, number one, or number two, you might be giving them bad advice or the wrong advice.
Yeah.
You know, so if that's one thing I want to make sure that parents keep in mind is take the approach that you were saying, like have the conversations, ask the questions and all that kind of stuff, and come up with a strategy together.
Yeah.
If you don't know, but that takes a level of honesty as mom and dad. Like, you have to be honest with what your actual capability is of helping them in the sport. It's not just because you're an adult and they're a kid that you can tell them what to do and it will work out well or better if they just listen to you, you know? Because that was one thing I realized as I started to become an adult. It's like, oh shit, my parents are actually just people. It's like my parents don't actually know all the answers.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, it's like mom and dad know all the answers.
Actually, they probably know less because they think they know.
Well,
that's right. I've seen parents on a daily basis, and it's not my place to step in sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not my place to step in when you're teaching your kid. When your kid is given to me to work with, then it's my right to teach them how to think about hockey, not about life, about hockey and about how to be better and stuff. So, but I watch parents, or they'll come in. We saw one guy doing an interview, and he was came in here, booked a session with me to help his son do some interviews in the OHL. Like, what do you think they ask and all that stuff. So I'm walking through, and his dad would interrupt and tell him what to do. I'm like, this is the problem. Like, you are the problem. You are the problem. Like, and the kid's going to be okay. Nah, we'll see. We'll see. Like, he's not like, yeah, I didn't mean that. Like, he's opened some eyes this year, but I think his dad's taking that to a different level and thinks that this is like it's happening. It's on. He's going somewhere, but it's like, you're the problem, Dad. You are actually the problem. You're not helping him. Like, you're trying to. I get that, but you're like so concerned about him. And this kid's got it figured out. Like, mentally, he's good.
Yeah.
He's got some good mojo. He's thinking. He's got the right attitude. He's got the right work ethic. Everything's good, but he needs to do it himself. But he's got this guy tell him all the things that no, you're wrong. Like, you're actually wrong. You're giving him bad advice. You're giving him way too much, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
But I see it, man, every day. It's just like, oh man, you're not helping your kid right now.
Yeah, and make sure people that you're clear about what we're saying here. We're not saying like don't try to help and whatever, but you just have to be careful about your road to hell is paved with good intentions kind of thing. So
but there's resources, right? This is the thing.
But you have to have a brain. This is what I'm saying. Like, there's resources, there's things you can find, but you have to be willing to think. Don't think, I listened to one podcast by XYZ person and now I feel like I can tell them exactly what they need. Yeah. It's like, it takes time to build the base of knowledge to give good advice on anything. Yeah. So make sure, and most parents that I don't, like, I've seen, especially dads, like dads are terrible for it. It's like, just, you think your barking commands are what's right. Yeah. And a lot of times it's not right, man. Yeah. So you have to be able to have a brain about it when you're going in to try to help your kid with this kind of stuff.
The biggest revelation I had as a dad with hockey experience, but as a dad, is I was able to read when my son just didn't want to hear it. That's right. And I was good. You know this. I wasn't hockey. He would bring hockey up more than me. Yeah. I'm sick of hockey. But we would be, whatever, Dad, what do you think? Or earlier on, I would try to give him more, here, try this, and this. And it was like, you just see the eyeballs trolling for flies now. Just no. And then to continue on the conversation, it's just your kid will not even want to talk to you.
That's right.
So read them, and don't be offended. It's like, they're kids. And here's the other thing is that when kids play hockey, this is the thing. Most parents don't know. Most parents know that their kid's not going really anywhere in hockey, in the real scheme of things. Okay, but they treat the kids as if like it's the most important thing in their life. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So they keep harping on something that the kids are they're just trying to have fun, or they're trying to be good. And the kid that wants it will figure it out anyways. And this is the hardest thing for parents to understand is, and for me, it was hard for me. I mean, this is experience. Your kid will figure it out. The kid will decide whether he wants to do it or not. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not you. Not you, man. The kid will figure it out.
Yep.
I've seen it with my son.
Yep.
I thought there was days where, and everyone's different, right? But I thought there was days where it's like, I don't think he wants it that bad. My wife thought it even more. If he really wanted to be shooting more pucks, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to succeed in your business, you'd be working later, doing more. So shut your pie hole.